Rain hammered against the bus stop like tiny bullets from the sky as Emma curled deeper into her thin sweater, trying to hide the shaking in her hands. The city moved around her without noticing, cars splashing through puddles, strangers rushing past with umbrellas, warm coffee cups, and somewhere important to be. But Emma had nowhere to go. At least, nowhere that felt like home anymore. She checked her phone again. No missed calls, no messages. The battery blinked red at 1% before the screen went black completely. That was it. No money, no charger, no one coming. Emma swallowed hard and stared at the rain-soaked street in front of her. Across the road stood one of the most expensive hotels in Chicago, glowing gold against the dark evening sky. Luxury cars lined the entrance while valets in spotless uniforms opened doors for wealthy guests wrapped in elegance and perfume. Emma quickly looked away. People like her didn't belong near places like that. What she didn't know was that someone inside the hotel had been watching her for nearly 40 minutes. Daniel Reed, billionaire investor and owner of half the buildings downtown, stood silently behind the glass wall of the hotel restaurant. Most people knew him from magazine covers, the cold-eyed millionaire who built a billion-dollar empire before turning 40. The media called him ruthless, untouchable. But tonight, Daniel couldn't stop staring at the young woman sitting alone in the rain. At first, he thought she was waiting for someone. Then he noticed the details others ignored, the way she kept pretending not to shiver, the way she smiled politely when an elderly homeless man asked if the seat beside her was free, the way she quietly handed him the only sandwich in her bag. Daniel leaned back slowly. She had given away her food. And then, 20 minutes later, he saw something else. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, wandered too close to the flooded curb while her distracted mother searched inside her purse. A speeding taxi rounded the corner, tires spraying water as it approached. Without hesitation, Emma lunged forward. She grabbed the little girl and pulled her back just seconds before the taxi roared past. The child burst into tears. The mother hugged her daughter tightly, overwhelmed with relief. And Emma? She simply smiled, said, "Be careful," and walked back to her bench as if saving someone's life was the most ordinary thing in the world. Daniel stared in disbelief. Most people performed kindness when cameras were watching, but nobody was watching her, except him. "Sir?" Daniel looked up at his assistant. "You're late for your dinner meeting." He glanced once more toward the bus stop. "Cancel it." The assistant blinked. "Cancel? With Senator Brooks?" "Yes." Daniel grabbed his coat. For reasons he couldn't explain, he suddenly cared more about a stranger in the rain than a room full of powerful men. By the time Daniel stepped outside, the storm had grown heavier. Emma sat with her knees pulled to her chest, trying unsuccessfully to stay dry. He approached carefully. "You're going to freeze out here." Emma looked up quickly, startled. The man standing before her looked expensive in every possible way. Tailored coat, polished shoes, a watch worth more than her yearly salary. "I'm okay," she said softly. Daniel glanced at the empty bus sign overhead. Buses stopped running an hour ago because of flooding. Her expression fell for a split second before she forced another smile. "I'll figure something out." Daniel noticed that smile immediately. It wasn't real. It was the kind of smile people wear when life has taught them nobody is coming to help. "My driver can take you somewhere safe," he offered. Emma stiffened instantly. "I'm not looking for money. That's not what I meant. I'm serious." Her voice trembled slightly. "I don't want charity." Daniel studied her quietly. Pride, dignity, even now, especially now. "What if I ask for your help instead?" he said. She frowned. "My help?" He pointed toward the hotel entrance. "There's a charity gala inside. Hundreds of rich people pretending to care about the poor while wasting enough food to feed entire neighborhoods." Emma almost laughed despite herself. Daniel continued, "I need someone honest to tell me whether any of it actually matters." For the first time that night, she looked genuinely curious. Against her better judgment, Emma followed him inside. The warmth of the hotel nearly made her dizzy. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead while wealthy guests in designer suits sipped champagne and discussed philanthropy like it was a fashionable hobby. Emma suddenly became painfully aware of her soaked shoes. People stared. Daniel noticed immediately. He also noticed something else. Emma kept looking toward the catering tables, not with greed but calculation. like someone wondering how many hungry people could eat with what would soon be thrown away. "You hate this place already, don't you?" Daniel asked quietly. "No," she said honestly. "I hate waste." That answer hit him harder than expected. Throughout the evening, Daniel watched Emma interact with people who normally ignored anyone beneath their social status. She thanked waiters by name. She listened to janitors. She comforted a nervous young violinist backstage before his performance. And somehow, every person she spoke to stood a little taller afterward. Hours later, Daniel finally asked the question that had been bothering him all night. "Why were you out there alone?" Emma hesitated. Then the truth came out quietly. Her mother had died 3 months earlier after a long battle with cancer. Medical bills destroyed everything they had. Emma worked 2 jobs trying to survive, but that morning she'd been evicted from her apartment. "And still," Daniel said carefully, "you gave away your food." Emma looked down. "My mom used to say something when things got hard." Her voice cracked slightly. She said, "If pain makes you cruel, then pain wins." Daniel felt something shift inside him. Because for years, pain had made him exactly that: cruel, cold, untouchable. Expensive. Kindness was naive. Yet this woman, who had lost far more than most people could survive, still chose gentleness, still chose humanity. That night changed him, but Emma didn't know that yet. The next morning, she woke in a hotel suite Daniel had insisted she use for the night. Panicked, she hurried downstairs, embarrassed and determined to leave before anyone accused her of taking advantage. Instead, she found Daniel waiting in the lobby. Beside him stood 3 hotel managers. "I have a proposal," he said. Emma crossed her arms cautiously. "I told you I don't want charity." "This isn't charity." He handed her a folder. Inside were plans for a new community outreach program funded by his company: food distribution, emergency housing assistance, job support for struggling families. At the top of the page was one line: Director Emma Carter. Her eyes widened. "What is this?" Daniel smiled softly. "This is me finally investing in someone who actually understands people." Emma stared at him, speechless. "You saw me for one night," she whispered. "No," Daniel replied. "I saw who you were when you thought nobody was watching." Silence filled the space between them. Then Emma began to cry. Not loud sobs, just quiet tears from someone who had spent too long carrying the world alone. Daniel stepped forward gently. For the first time in years, he realized something money could never buy. Sometimes the richest person in the room is the one who still chooses kindness after life has given them every reason not to. And sometimes one compassionate act seen by the right person can change 2 lives instead of 1. Years later, thousands of families would be helped through the outreach centers Emma built across the country. Reporters would call Daniel Reed a changed man, but he always corrected them. "No," he'd say with a smile, "I wasn't changed by success. I was changed by a woman sitting alone in the rain who thought nobody could see her." Because the truth is, the smallest acts of goodness are never truly invisible. Someone always sees them, and sometimes they change the world